Okay. Hey, what's good? Couldn't decide what to play today, so going back to age-old favorite. I was actually just playing this earlier today. Yeah, I was thinking what I really wanted to do was play more DMC, but I figured we already did that twice in a row. So might as well mix it up, right? And I'm still too shit at God Hand to get past the first level on hard mode, so figured why not give this a spin, eh? Before we do that, though, we just need to take some time to listen to this
Game select.
absolutely pimpin' version of Live and Learn. God. What's his face? Sonoy? Knows how to play it. And compose it, obviously. Unfortunately, we won't be playing two-player mode because I don't have any friends. So instead, we're just gonna fuck around in the stages, which is what I usually do. This is probably one of my most played games of all time, I think. At least in terms of like a number of times I boot up the game. Because obviously the being a high-speed platformer, you know, your time in the game doesn't last that long. Like if I was to play every speed stage once, it would take like maybe 20 minutes, assuming I don't die much or restart much, which I do a lot, I guess. So yeah, like my in-game time on Steam, at least on the Steam version, is like barely 100 hours, which is pretty much nothing, but in terms of like individual play sessions, right? It's gotta be up there. That's too high to get the robot. Yep. But yeah, when I think of like good high-speed 3D platforming, this is the game that comes to mind. Recently I played what's it called? Spark 3, which is very clearly inspired by Sonic. And also the guy that made it is the guy who did Sonic Before and After the sequel. That series is really good, by the way. I mean, I've only played Spark 3, but I've played some of that guy's other work, and I can tell you at least that Spark 3 and Sonic Before and After the sequel are definitely worth your time. I mean, Sonic Before and After the sequel required Adobe Shockwave, if I remember correctly. Maybe somebody's made a version, like a fork or whatever, that doesn't need that. I haven't checked, because I just brought it over from my old hard drive, both Shockwave and the game, or the two games.
Stage select.
Let's see, let's do something that's not super technical so I don't restart too much. So I have kind of a bad habit of restarting the... maybe not necessarily the moment I fuck up, but like... I definitely... whenever I fuck up in this game, I'm like, really? You can do better than that, man. So... yep. I think... I don't remember... Anyway, I guess I should finish my thought about Spark 3. That game is really good. When it comes to like good 3D high-speed platformers, it's this game and Spark 3 that I think of. Luckily, I think Spark 3's gotten a decent amount of exposure. It seems like a fair amount of people know about it thanks to a couple of, I don't know if viral's the right word, but, you know, videos that have gotten good viewership on YouTube of the game. Which they definitely deserve, because, again, that game's pretty fucking good. I think I have Spark 1 and 2. Oh, fucking hell. But I think I have them downloaded, I just haven't played them yet. So yeah. And then out of, like, the 3D Sonic games, this one's probably my favorite, although I'll admit I haven't played all of them. Out of the 3D games I've played, SA1, SA2, Heroes, Shadow, Unleashed, and Colors only recently via emulator, which was before they released it on PC.
Here we go.
So, man, my neck is fucked today. Oh, and Generations, obviously. That game's pretty good too.
Ultimate victory.
Stage select.
But yeah, in terms of like my favorite of the 3D games, probably this one. I go back to this one a lot. If Heroes had a port to Steam, it might be pretty neck and neck between that game and this game. Also, if well, I don't know. I like SA1. SA1 was the first 3D Sonic game I played, I think. I'm pretty sure. And I just remember being so blown away with it as a kid. Because the first Sonic game I played was Sonic CD, and whether you think Sonic's cringe or not, you go and watch the intro cutscene to Sonic CD, and you'll understand why. If that's like the first Sonic anything you've seen, like this was, I don't even remember what year. Must have been somewhere around 2001, I'm guessing. 2002, I don't know. I wasn't keeping track back then because I was like 5 or whatever. But yeah, you see, if that's the first thing you see of Sonic and you're like 5 years old or whatever, you are a Sonic fan for life. Like, there's no going back after you see that cutscene. It's fucking incredible. And then somehow I lost my copy of Sonic CD, which I had on PC. Because obviously I was too young to be... And my sister wasn't that much of a gamer, so she had like an N64. Which I played too, but... that's... Out of like the TV consoles, that's the earliest one that we had. At least to my knowledge. I'm sure my sister played consoles. I think even my dad probably played Pong or something when he was in college, but yeah, my sister probably played other consoles at like her friend's house or whatever. But for me, the oldest one I think that I've played is the N64 that my sister owned. So yeah, and then I guess I played a lot of games on PC, including and especially Sonic. Let's see, Sonic CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is another fantastic game.
Ultimate victory.
And then also they had Sonic R and Sonic
Stage
3D
select.
Blast bundled together. I played a fair bit of those as well. But yeah, this is probably the one I go back to the most. Like, if you were to ask me what's your favorite Sonic game, back in the day I probably would have told you, like, 3 and Knuckles, because that game is really good. But in terms of the 2D Sonic games, my favorite might be Advance 2, just because it's basically SA2, but, and by that I mean Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Advance 2 is basically Sonic Adventure 2, but in 2D, and it's really good. Minus the dumbass special stages, which I've never finished. But like the level design and the speed, the sense of speed in Advance 2 is so fucking nice. Just like full mast every time I play that game. And when you're playing as the other characters, it's pretty good as well. But it's funny because, like, with a lot of Sonic games, I'm not a fan of, like, the entire game, which is really weird. Like, every game seems to have some, I guess you'd say, padding problems, which is really unfortunate because, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's hard to market this, but, like, the point of a high-speed platformer, in my opinion, is replayability. So it's not, like, the length of the base game isn't really important, because the whole point is that you're supposed to replay the levels over and over again and get better and better each time. And, like, that's really fun. To me, at least. I assume it's also fun to other people who are fans of high-speed platformers like Sonic and Spark. But I guess it's kind of hard to market that, isn't it? So Sega introduces all this fucking padding, right? Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd even call it padding, because it's not like the rest of this game is bad. It's just that I prefer the speed stages so much that I almost never, not almost never, but like rarely go back to the other stages. There are other stages I like. I guess I could play some of them. And I don't think any of the stages are really bad in this game. I don't think. Even the space stages with Knuckles and Rouge aren't bad. They're, like, interesting, which is better than being fucking boring. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could play one of them. I think Meteor Herd's pretty fun. I'm just looking at the level select and trying to... I guess Aquatic Mine isn't all that fun. If I had to pick a least favorite stage, maybe it would be Aquatic Mine. But like the two kart racing ones aren't that bad. All of Tails and Eggman's stages aren't that bad. But like, as you can see, I have my high score on all the speed stages is an A rank, and for several of the other stages it's an E. Especially Eggman's stages, because they're basically like Tails except harder. But like, this level I quite enjoy. And Knuckles is fun enough to play in this game. I wish the radar was a little bit different, but that's not like a huge deal or anything. But it also makes you wonder if part of the reason they made a change to the radar so that you can detect fewer of the emeralds at the same time is another, like, thing that they did to try to make the game longer, you know? So that you don't just beat a Knuckles level in, like, 2 or 3 minutes. Well, I mean, sometimes you can, but a lot of that is up to luck, I guess. But I don't know, I still enjoy Knuckles and Tails' levels. I still think they're fun, it's just, I don't know, I prefer, I prefer the speed stages, that's just about it. Oh, it's definitely nearby somewhere. Up here, maybe. Do you have it? Nope. There it is. Nice. Apparently the hard mode version of this level is technically easier because in hard mode the emerald shards are always in the same place, whereas in normal mode it's kind of random. I mean, there's only so many places it could be, so if you have all that shit memorized, you could just sort of run through the checklist, I guess, and be done with the stage in like 10 seconds. But, yeah, see, like, I find this fun. It's really weird, and I don't know how I would explain why I find it fun, but I guess I just like the verticality. And it also helps that Knuckles is pretty fast, and he still, even though he's not doing very Sonic things, you know, like getting to the end of the stage as fast as possible, which isn't even a thing because there is no end of the stage. He still feels really fast, and everything he does is really agile. Like, the response to your buttons to your button inputs is really fast, so yeah, it's just, but at the same time, you know, if I had to make the choice, being like, would you rather have Knuckles in this game or just have more speed stages? I'd be like, well, I'd rather have more speed stages because they're more fun to me. But then again, this game is kind of from an era where a lot of games that came out around this time had mechanics put in that felt kind of shoehorned in for whatever reason. Again, I'm not saying that's necessarily the case with this game in particular, but like you look at oh shit. You look at like Ocarina of Time, for example, and like that game has a stealth section in it, like a very Metal Gear type stealth section. It's like, nowadays that would be seen as like, well, why did you bother with that? I think the argument a lot of people would make is, well, nobody bought the game specifically for a stealth section, so why did you put it in the game? But I mean, I understand why people feel like that, but I guess I still enjoy the creativity. And if it's, again, if it's badly programmed, then yeah, I definitely agree. Like, don't do, if the rest of your game is of a certain level of quality, that, especially if it's one that people have come to expect from a certain series or whatever, and this new mechanic you want to put in is shoehorned in the way that, like, it's super, like, the entire section is really quick to get through, and it's only once or twice in the entire game, and it's like shittily programmed as on top of all that, then yeah, I would argue just leave it out, leave it on the cutting room floor, you know. But if it's well programmed, and especially if it's well programmed and has its place like in multiple parts of the game as like sort of as a, maybe not the core, maybe not the reason people buy the game, but like, you know, in retrospect, it takes up a fair percentage of the game. I have no fucking idea where this second shard is. Then yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't like quote unquote fit in with the rest of the game, you know, I still appreciate and admire the creativity. So, and that's kind of how I feel about this game as well, you know. Like 90, I'd say easily 90 to 95% of the time, maybe more than that, maybe like 97% of the time when I'm going back to this game, it's, holy shit. It's, I should probably use the hints. Steel drilling tower, I bet that was out there. I hope I'm not too far from the mic. I'm looking at my OBS levels and they look fine. Can't place me near. Oh, Jesus, man. Possible ban evader. Where's the oil rig, man? Is it over here? This is taking way longer than I thought it would. I'm sorry. I could just quit the stage now and go back to playing something more... Oh, fuck me. Here it is somewhere. Playing something I enjoy more, but
It's closer.
I feel like I'm in for a penny, in for a pound at this point. How the fuck do you get up here? You gotta go up. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so like... Again, most of the time when I'm playing this game, it's the speed stages. But I can still admire that the rest of the game is approximately the same level of quality, and just because it's not my favorite... Oh, damn it. Doesn't mean it's bad or anything, you know? Well, of course both of them were fucking down here, weren't they? Not in here, though. Where is it? Somewhere... Does an enemy have it? Up here, maybe? Where the fuck is it? Oh, God. Oh, I thought these would open. Oh, fuck, it's here somewhere. Up here? Nope. Is it flying around in a ring? Sometimes they fly around in a ring and it's really dumb. Is it inside one of these boxes, maybe? Oh, wherever it is, I haven't seen it in this place, at least in a long time. What does this say? Oh, jeez. Fuck. Yeah, it is in that thing. What? Over here, maybe? No. Man, that went fucking flying. What am I meant to hit, though? Oh, check it out.
I found him.
Nice. That's definitely an E.
have to try harder.
Oh, that's definitely a bot. Nice.
Stage select.
MTM GJ, that's definitely a bot. I'm not even gonna ask. Fuck it. Anyway, yeah, believe me when I say I had fun playing that stage. You'll just have to take my word for it. But, yeah, it's going back to the reason I was talking about that and the reason I decided to play a Knuckles stage is, because, like I said, if this is my favorite Sonic game, it's kind of a strange choice and a strange dilemma because it's not like I like the whole game or even most of the game. I'm particularly a fan of about a third of it, the speed stages, and I'm okay with the rest of it. So it's not, I don't know, it's not like a compelling, not that I need to, not that I need to, you know, argue about, or that I need to prove why it's a good game or whatever, but it's just weird. And then Unleashed is like that too. It's like, I'm okay with the werehog, but if I'm replaying the game, I'm almost certainly going to be replaying the speed stages.
Missile launch in 15 seconds. 10, 9,
And then with Heroes, which is another of my quote-unquote favorites, I might fuck this up. Come on! Usually I go for the Phoenix, but I don't have enough time. But yeah, with Heroes, it's like... And it's even weirder in Heroes, because that game is like... You play it 4 times, right? And it's basically the same game all 4 times, but I only really prefer to play as Sonic. Or Team Sonic, I should say. Team Chaotix is a little bit different. It's got like a mission structure, kind of like what you will eventually find in Shadow the Hedgehog. Which is a game I enjoyed as a kid, funnily enough. Mostly because of the guns. I thought the guns were cool and creative.
Stage select.
That's about it, though. Other than that, the only reason I was interested in it at all was because it was a Sonic game. But it's definitely weird. And then Generations I like as well, but Generations doesn't have any unique stages. Minus the final boss, I guess, which I don't know if I ever even beat. Because it was just so shit. That the final boss was so bad. In my opinion. But yeah, and then SA1... Again, I like it, but it doesn't have the same... How should I say? Polish? That this game does. So I almost... And also the PC version of Sonic Adventure 1 doesn't have all the amenities that this game does, for some reason. It totally could have. Maybe there's like a modded version of the Steam version that's like, you know, as the game deserves. But even if it was, even if it had like widescreen support and like local multiplayer, which it might, I don't know, I don't play these games multiplayer anyway, but... Or even like online multiplayer with your, like peer-to-peer with your Steam friends or whatever. Or in a custom server, which I guess you would need, because, I mean, Sega's not going to pay for the servers to a 20-something-year-old game. But yeah, even if SA1 did have that, I'm just not as big of a fan of SA1, even though it was the first, like, 3D Sonic game I played. assuming you're not counting Sonic R and Sonic 3D Blast. First mainline 3D Sonic game, I guess I should say.
Yes!
But yeah, and then although they did make some minor in SA1, they did make some minor changes to accommodate for the 5 characters.
Stage
I just still
select.
don't think it was all that good. So, you know, and then in this game, you know, every stage is more or less catered to every character. So at the end of the day, and there's also technically fewer gameplay styles. I mean, in SA1, Sonic and Tails kind of play almost exactly the same, so I guess you could say that they're close enough to be one gameplay style, so I guess you could mix Sonic and Tails as one. What else? Knuckles is unique, Gamma is unique. Although I will say I prefer playing as... I think I prefer playing as Gamma to Tails and Eggman's mechs. Oh, damn it. Oh, fucking hell. I always find some stupid way to fuck up this stage. Not bad, I guess. I got that rail skip at the start pretty quick without dying.
Here we go.
Not terrible. This is one of the harder stages to do the... I don't know if you'd really call it speed running, but, you know, time skipping, I guess. Or like,
Ultimate victory.
what would you call it? Set skipping?
Stage select.
Set piece skipping, I guess. Alright, what stage have I not played yet? The 3 at the end. But yeah, fuck was I talking about? And you'll probably notice I'm doing a lot better talking and gaming at a competent level in this game compared to God Hand and DMC because I've been playing this game for like 20 years. But yeah, going back to, I remember now, SA1. I like SA1, but, and I loved it when I was a kid. But, you know, as somebody who spent fair time with both of them, and like I'm an adult now and somebody who's very interested in game design, I definitely think this game just has better polish. Which is, you know, to be expected because this game came out after they had an entire game to learn from. So I don't think that should or would surprise anyone. I know there's plenty of people who prefer SA1. But I don't think I'm particularly biased because I played SA, to my recollection, I could be misremembering things, but I'm pretty sure I played SA1 before playing SA2, even though by the time I would have played it, I think both of them would have been out. Maybe not on the, well, yeah, maybe on the GameCube, because first time I played SA1 or even knew about SA1 was on the GameCube. I didn't know how to use the internet back then. I was like 6. The world was a different place. Kids didn't really know how to use the internet. In fact, one time I remember my mom went somewhere and left a computer on, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, now I can use the computer while she's not using it. And I turned on the screen, and I'm like, well, I guess they had done, like, I don't even remember how old I was. But depending on how old I was, I might not have even had computer training as a kid in school, because they did that, I remember. This is one of the funniest skips I've found recently. But yeah, I remember turning on the computer as like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, something. My mom's computer.
Cool.
And, well, not turning it on because it was already on. I turned on the screen.
Select.
Being like all excited, like, man, I can use the computer now. She's not home. And I turn on the screen. I'm like, I have no fucking idea how to use this thing. So I just turned the screen off and went in and did something else. Now I have to remember how I got onto that story. But yeah, so I... Oh, fuck. I'm not restarting, fuck it. Oh, yes I am. Artificial Chaos made the choice for me. Thank you, Artificial Chaos. Ooh, that was fast. Damn. I don't normally... Well, I was about to say I don't normally fuck up this much, but I guess I do. Just not exactly this way. Tell you what, though, it's liberating to stream without wearing headphones. I feel like I can actually think. But yeah, regarding SA1's level design, even as Sonic, like, obviously it's clear that the levels were designed first for Sonic and then edited to be playable by the other characters. And they, to be honest, with that strategy, they did a decent job, I'd say. Especially given that that was their first, like, true high production effort to do a 3D high-speed platformer. And obviously that game walked so that this game could run. So I appreciate it, and I certainly appreciated it as a kid, because when I saw SA1, I was like, holy shit, this game is finally in... Sonic is finally in 3D. I was like so blown away by that. But just speaking like a bit more objectively, while the game is still fun, the level design just isn't as good in my opinion, because it's... I think a high-speed platformer should be more linear than not. Not that... I mean, SA1 is more linear than non-linear, but I've seen, like, footage of that beta Windy Valley or something, and I've seen people say, like, oh, wow, this looks great, I wish this version of Windy Valley was in the game. I'm looking at that beta level, and I'm thinking to myself, well, where's the direction in this stage? You know? It's just not what I personally think is good level design for a high-speed platformer. Or really for any platformer, like even... unless the point of the level is not to get to the end. Like if the point is like mission-based, like find all the flickies or free all the animals or whatever, or shit like that, you know? Or something else, you know, something more like... I'm trying to think of an example. Sonic Frontiers, I guess. Apparently, I didn't play that game, but that game has obviously a huge emphasis on the open world. But, you know, some other, like, mission-based structure as opposed to, you know, get to the end as fast as possible. Or as stylishly as possible. So if the objective was different, I guess I would feel differently, but regarding that beta level, just playing as like a normal A to B Sonic level, get to the end as fast as possible. I'm like, it's too directionless, you know? And yeah, there are some, like, chevrons pointing you in the right direction. But still, you look at, like, the path that people are taking in the videos of that stage. And it's like, well, sometimes you're just kind of fucking lost, you know? And then also sometimes I see people... Oh, fuck, barely missed it. I see people criticize this game for being, like, mostly downhill. And I'm thinking, like, well, yeah, I mean, if I want to go fast, if the point of the game is the, is the, there's an easier way to do this. You just go forward, basically, and then land on the rail. I guess I could show it. Land on this rail, and then this way. Oh, you're supposed to catch that rail. I've been trying to do this other one, which I don't think is even much faster. It just kind of looks cooler when you get it right. Oh yeah, check that out. But yeah, some people criticize this game for being too downhill, and then by extension also criticize Advance 2 for the same thing. It's like, if that makes the game faster, like I play the game for that soaring sexual high that you get from going fast as fuck, you know? So whatever they do to make that happen, you know, is something I'm all about. There's plenty of tricking, and I guess if there was one thing I would add to this game, it would be more like alternate paths. Not that Adventure 1 necessarily did that better very much. Maybe a couple of times. Although I guess a couple is better than nothing. But that's like the only thing I could add to this game to make it better is more multiple paths, at least for the Sonic stages. Maybe for all of them, but for the Sonic stages in particular. Oh no. Oh, saved. I think I saved it, yeah. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, luckily it's not me who gets to decide what is and isn't a Sonic game. Otherwise, I'd be making them. And I think a lot about game design. Mostly what I do is I just think about, like, what are the things I enjoy the most about the games that I love the most, and if I were to make my own version of that with, like, different things, like, for example, you know, I think about this game a lot. I just missed the checkpoint, nice. Like I said, you know, how would I improve this game? It's one of my favorite games. How would I improve it or change things that could be better? And one of those things would be to add more alternate paths, you know? So that I don't know, so that it's more fun on replays, because again, that's kind of, in my opinion, the thesis of a high-speed platformer is replayability. So, like, that's kind of the magic ingredient, is if your high-speed platformer is really replayable, like, say your stages are 5 minutes or under, and it's fast and it feels good, and like pulling off certain tricks like in ramps or whatever feels good. That was a close call there. Or other tricks, like in this game you've got the light speed dash, stuff like that, where it's like, you know, pressing the button at the right time, kind of like a rhythm game, or even kind of like a Souls game would be a more appropriately modern comparison, I guess, because that's kind of the point of Dark Souls, isn't it? At least that's what people on the surface, you know, press the button to dodge at the right time, right? It's kind of the bread and butter of Souls combat, not including the RPG stuff, obviously, but yeah, so like for a high-speed platformer, apart from the high speed, obviously, if your game is really replayable, That's kind of all you need. At that point, again, it's hard to market this, but if your levels are really replayable, it doesn't really matter how short the game is if you were to play it all in one sitting. Like a 2 hour, hell, even if the game was 2 hours, you know, I mean, plenty of people still play Sonic 2 or even Sonic 1. And they play through it in one sitting. It's not short enough for me to prefer to play it in one sitting, because even if you know what you're doing, it could take like an hour, maybe, for Sonic 2. Maybe not that much, maybe like 40-some minutes. But yeah, you know, it's, if your game is replayable, that like, and again, even if it's not a high-speed platformer, replayability is like what makes a game stand the test of time, isn't it? So stuff like that is what I value, and I think about that a lot. So yeah, and you know, it's you know, regarding the downhillness or the linearity, I mean, if it suits the game's thesis or the game's function, then the ends justify the means, in my opinion. So yeah, that's how I feel about it, and that's why I think I prefer SA2 to SA1. I'm trying to decide what to play now. I've played all the speed stages. Oh, what's the... This song has, this level has a really good song, so I guess I'll play this one. I don't have my headphones in, but you can enjoy the music because it's pimp as fuck. I'm also not very good at the next stages. But yeah, it's going back to like the multiple gameplay styles and shit. It's funny when you talk about Sonic games, because it's like, I don't know anybody who likes every part of a Sonic game equally. At least the 3D ones. But even in like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is like definitely one of the best Sonic games, I don't really play as Tails or Knuckles. I kind of just play as Sonic. Even though Tails and Knuckles play quite similarly to Sonic in 3 and Knuckles, I still just prefer to play as Sonic. Oh, that's dangerous. And then Heroes is a different beast completely, but I still really enjoy that game for some reason. I think it's just because of how like colorful and happy that game is, at least when you're playing as Team Sonic. But that's another curious case, because you don't have to, but the game encourages you to play it like 4 times in a row. Which is like, I mean, that's padding, isn't it? And I can only assume the reason they did that is because they were aware, like, I guess people complained, like, hey, you know, I paid whatever amount for this game and it's only like 4 hours long. Like, imagine if Heroes was only Team Sonic and that was it. The game would be like maybe 3 hours long. Even if you're including like getting the Chaos Emeralds. So I can really only assume that the reason they did that, it was to pad out the runtime so that people are like, oh no, or at least Sega is like, oh no, this game is like, what, 12 hours long is the campaign? So that they, you know, can feel justified in whatever price they're setting or whatever. Or just sell more copies in general. Which is like, you know, I get it, but it's not necessary if your game is replayable, and I think Heroes is replayable. I find that core gameplay loop quite fun. With like switching characters in the middle of the stage while keeping up the speed, you know. That's like something I really think is quite fun. Kind of like the reason I enjoy the combat in FF13, you know, it's like having to manage multiple things while keeping up your pace, you know. I think that's really satisfying. Or really any game that has like a style switching mechanic, platformer or RPG or not, you know.
Stage select.
So yeah. I'm trying to go for an hour today because I've been slowly increasing the amount of time I stream, you know, without getting tired or whatever. I think I'm doing pretty well so far. Again, just trying to get used to shit. Is it in here? Yep. Damn, perfect. But yeah, if you're watching this in the future, definitely, and you play Sonic, tell me what's your favorite Sonic game? Because opinions vary very wildly on that subject.
Hurry up, Rouge. The island is set to blow up.
Fucking die, come on. I've definitely gotten lucky this round. I quite like this stage as well. Oh, it's around here somewhere. Damn. Oh, I might die. Oh, I see it. I see the fucking thing. Look at this. 3 perfects in a row, that's right, baby. That's probably an A. I guess I'm hoping. Damn.
How was that?
Nice.
Perfect? Like me? Stage select.
Yeah, I really like Heroes. I remember liking Shadow when I was a kid, but mostly for the guns more. I guess the level design wasn't terrible. And, well, it's weird. Some of the levels in Shadow are like really... It's weird because like some levels have the clear design of a mission structure, but it was also weird because that game also had levels with multiple objectives that you could do. So sometimes it felt right and sometimes it didn't, and sometimes that depended on which objective you were going for, which would depend on which, you know, what's it called, alignment you were going for, hero or villain. I guess I could play the bosses, I got time. I don't want to play all of them. I'll just play the hero side.
This game of tag is boring. I'm out of here. Finally decided to show up, eh? Okay.
But yeah, and then like I was saying, in terms of like the downhillness and the what you call it? Linearity, I guess, of this game. The linearity I kind of get because, like, even I would agree that's something I would change in the game. At least a little bit, maybe not completely.
This is Spider Trip Bigfoot. Bigfoot to headquarters, over. Communication.
Ready, go! Ready, go!
What? For just one hedgehog?
Hey, guy, take care.
But yeah, the same is true for advanced to, in my opinion. I think that game is fun as fuck. Partially because it's mostly downhill. And you can just go so fast. Like, honestly, possibly even faster than this game. I think a lot of people probably also don't like Rush for a similar reason. But you know what's funny? When I played Rush for the first time, I didn't really use the boost except to enter the special stages as Sonic. Because I'm kind of a... I like to conserve resources, or at least I did when I was younger, when I play games. So I was like, well, this boost is limited, so I'm just not going to use it unless I really need to. And I basically played through the whole of Sonic Rush without boosting the first time I played it, and I still had a pretty good time. Of course, now that I know that it's really easy to come by boost and you don't have to conserve it, the game is probably more fun that way. But yeah, that's another thing that people criticize of Rush, is that like it's too boost heavy, I guess. Which I mean, if you're coming from one of these games, like I still prefer a game like this compared to one of the boost formula games, for sure. Oh fuck, I didn't think that would happen. Actually, let's use the tree and see how high we can get in this game, in this level. Nope. Ooh. Not very high. Oh, I got some altitude there. Alright, let's end this. Oh, fuck. That's what I get for fucking around. But yeah, like, I enjoy Unleashed. I also enjoyed, Generations. But I didn't think it was as fun as, like, this game, you know?
Do you know who I am?
And 06 is obviously pretty bad, but honestly, my biggest, even though that game is just not very well designed, my biggest problem with that game is the loading screens. And I think, like, as somebody who may get into game design later, that game, I guess that game was kind of important to me, and like in terms of learning that, yeah, how fast a game loads is actually pretty important to me. It's also important to games that kind of rely on replay value, obviously. That might seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised. I mean, fucking Sega got it wrong, and they're like the company that's known for making the high-speed video game series. Fucking smoked him. Look at that. Granted, I don't think that was like a conscious design decision or a conscious... not conscious, but like the result of them just not being very good at their job. I think it's the result of them being rushed, obviously. Which is not Sonic Team's fault, that's Sega's fault. But it is what it is, you know, and I think that teaches us a valuable lesson, you know, for game designers. If your game takes like 20 fucking minutes to load, that's one thing I don't like about Elden Ring in particular. Like, for a game that's where, you know, dying is like really important to the learning process and shit. Oh, I missed him, damn it. Or alternatively, it's just that my computer's too shit, which is very possible. It's about 13 years old, maybe? 10 years old? I don't know. But it seems to be true of everybody else as well when I'm watching other people play Elden Ring. Game takes a while to load. Which is kind of unintuitive. Like you would hope that a game so based around, you know, losing and losing and losing and dying until you get it right, would have infrastructure that's better suited to that thesis, you know, such as not taking ages to fucking load.
What a house.
That's just my take. I mean, I think Elden Ring's a fine game, although I'll be honest, I've kind of grown weary of open world game design personally, and that's coming from somebody who's once upon a time their favorite game was Skyrim, and once upon a time before that, my favorite game was Oblivion. And then obviously before that, it would have been like, I don't know, probably a Sonic game, I guess. But yeah, I never really see people talk about that, at least not in like a really public conversation, is like how long it takes games like Elden Ring or other Souls games to load. Fuck. For a game that's like so based on the dying process. No, come back. Does anybody else feel that? Like, I don't know, I feel like there should be something in place infrastructurally for your game to not take so long to load if every time you die, if dying is like an integral part of the game. I don't know, that's how I feel. Like, imagine playing Tetris, right? And every time you lose a level or a game, it takes like 2 minutes to load. It would be fucking unplayable, in my opinion. And you could just say get good, but I mean, part of getting good is the process, right? The process of losing until you figure it out and make sense of the game.
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take
So.
it from you. You've made me mad.
Just something I've learned in my many years.
Here I come. Get ready. Blood wave.
Oh, nice.
I mean business.
What the fuck is she? This boss is kind of annoying. Which is really strange, because, like, this might be the only boss that, where the camera doesn't, like... Oh, fuck. The camera doesn't automatically focus on them,
If that's how
on the
you
enemy,
wanna play, I will take it from
unless you're both on the ground.
you. Memorize Rouge's attack pattern. When she stops, that's the time to attack.
But I tell you what, that would make this boss a lot less of a pain in the ass. If the camera was actually focused on Rouge or Knuckles, depending on who you're playing as.
You've made me mad. Now I mean business. Here I come. Just what picked up this can be true.
Nice, there we go.
Never lose.
Get away from my emerald.
Hey, past an hour. That's an achievement for me.
You're no match for me.
Been yapping for an hour. hate this. This boss is fucked as well. Oh, he didn't even use his fucking special move. It's usually what kills you in this boss. Could kill him. No, fuck. So close. Let's see if I can aim this correctly. Nope. Oh. I don't know what sent me flying there. Oh shit. Oh, barely. Oh. Like a percent of an HP. Fun fact about this boss, if you just keep running for about 11 minutes, the stage will just fall apart. I'm not going to do that here, but I do really like this boss. I just like running in a straight line. I think that's great for a boss. I think Sonic should have more running bosses. Hell, that's... fuck. Let's Deep Throat Advance 2 again. That's one of the things I loved about Advance 2 is the running bosses. I have no idea why people hated that shit. I thought it was super cool. Also, I really like this song, by the way. It's a really weird song, but the lyrics are also really good. The like 2 or 4 lines of lyrics that there are in this level or in this song. Wasn't this like the coolest shit when you were a kid, by the way? Also, going back to Advance 2, the classic games had running bosses as well. Why is it such a surprise? You know? Not all of them were running bosses, but
Game over, Shadow.
yeah. Anyway, I was trying to decide what to play today. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I wanted to play something funny, but I didn't really have anything funny. I was considering playing Oblivion, but Oblivion doesn't have like proper controller support on PC. So I just decided to go for a classic. I play this game all the time, so I was like, yeah, that'll be easy for me. Yeah. Don't know what I'm gonna do next time. I probably won't play Adventure 2 again, because as you've seen, I kind of did everything I wanted to do in this one, like, hour with the game. And much as I love playing this game over and over, or the parts that I like, you know, it doesn't take very long. And if I was to stream this again next time, you'd be seeing basically all the exact same shit. I might not say the same things, but you'd be looking at the same game. Or like the same content, more or less, with basically no changes. Maybe Devil May Cry. Maybe God Hand if I somehow get good enough to pass the first stage. Again, I would love to beat that game on hard mode on stream, but it's tough, man, it's tough. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, if you're watching this, if you're watching this on Twitch, I have no idea because I can't see the viewer count. I'm gonna assume it's 0, but I could be wrong. So chances are, if you're watching this, the majority of anybody who's going to be watching this will be watching this in the far future on YouTube. Not because it's going to be posted in the far future, but because, you know, in the future I'll probably have been more popular and people will be like, I wonder how we started out. Here you go. You're looking at it. But yeah, go ahead and, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment, like, what's your favorite Sonic game and why? Because I'm very curious about that. I think I've explained my reasoning pretty well. Which is basically, you know, high octane speed and replayability, which includes loading times, are like, which also includes, I guess I should say, setting up, like, starting the game, which would, like, if it's on an emulator, to, you know, how many clicks does it take to get this to the center of PCS2, you know, or whatever. But yeah, for a high-speed platformer, it's like, if I had to boil it down, it would be the sense of speed, probably the length of the stage as well. If it's like 5 minutes or under, I'd say it's pretty good. The like technique, like the skill ceiling, because like in this game, I've shown you can do like plenty of cool skips and shit that the developers may or may not have intended, but and not even just like necessarily skips, but like, you know, doing jumps off of ramps and shit. If it's more of like a trick-based game, like Jet Set Radio, I mean, that's not really a high-speed platformer, but, you know, the complexity of the tricks you can do and shit like that. So that's like the sense of speed, the replayability factor, and like the skill ceiling, I guess, or the room for skill expression. That's probably what I value the most in a high-speed platformer. And when I get Sonic, you know, the reason I like Sonic so much is I usually know what I'm getting. Hopefully. This development team and this franchise doesn't have the best record, but when it's good, it's really fucking good, isn't it? So, yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Don't know what I'll be playing, but we'll figure it out. Bye.